Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's question is, how did the Egyptians forget their hieroglyphic writing system? This is an excellent question, and it's one that has been pondered by many scholars throughout the years. There are several theories about how this could have happened, but unfortunately there's no real consensus on the matter. But of course I will share with you what I think about it. So let's get started. The ancient Egyptians invented their hieroglyphic writing system sometime around 3200 BC. Which makes it more than 5,000 years old. Hieroglyphs were used to record a variety of information such as religious texts, historical records, scientific observations, literature, and even everyday transactions. Hieroglyphs remained in use until the 4th century AD, when they were eventually replaced by the Coptic alphabet. So why did the Egyptians abandon a writing system that had been so integral to their culture for so long? There are several theories about why the Egyptians abandoned their hieroglyphic writing system. The first theory is that it was too complicated. Hieroglyphs were not only difficult to write, but also required a lot of time and effort to learn. With the increasing demands of daily life, fewer and fewer people were able to dedicate the necessary time to mastering this writing system, leading to its eventual demise. However, I do think that this is the real reason why the Egyptians abandoned their hieroglyphic writing system. Because if we look at China, for example, they developed their writing system at about the same time as the Egyptians. And Chinese characters are much more complicated than hieroglyphs. Yet Chinese characters are still in use today. So I do think that the complexity of the writing system was the main reason why the Egyptians abandoned their hieroglyphs. The second theory is that the development of paper and papyrus made it easier to write in cursive. This may be true, but I think there is something else behind it. Because the Egyptians invented papyrus, but later on they also started using paper made from linen. And even though these materials made it easier to write, I don't think it would have caused them to abandon their traditional writing system. The third theory is that the Egyptian language evolved over time, and the hieroglyphic writing system was not adapted accordingly. This theory is supported by the fact that the last hieroglyphic texts date from the 4th century AD. Which is thousands of years after the language had already evolved. It's possible that as the language changed, the hieroglyphic writing system became increasingly outdated and eventually fell out of use. However, I think there must have been another reason. Because if we look at ancient Greek, language evolved over a period of 800 years from Mycenaean Greek. Yet the Greeks didn't abandon their writing system. Instead, they adapted it. For example, the Phoenicians adapted the Egyptian hieroglyphic writing system to their own language and created the first phonetic alphabet. So even though the Egyptian language evolved over time, I don't think that this was the main reason why they abandoned their hieroglyphic writing system. Instead, I think the main reason was the conquest of Egypt by foreign powers. When new people came into Egypt, they brought their own language and writing system with them. Over time, these languages and writing systems replaced the Egyptian ones. For example, when the Arabs conquered Egypt in the 7th century AD, they brought with them their own language and writing system, which eventually replaced the Coptic alphabet. Of course, this didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual process that took place over several centuries. But I think that this is the real reason why the Egyptians forgot their hieroglyphic writing system. In conclusion, there are several theories about why the Egyptians abandoned their hieroglyphic writing system. I do think that the complexity of the writing system, or the development of paper and papyrus, was the main reason. Instead, I believe that the Egyptian language evolved over time, and the writing system was not adapted accordingly. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe for more videos about ancient Egypt. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.